So we started a tourism conference to look at the negative impacts on Native Hawaiians. Now, the 1980s, that's quite a long time ago. So here, almost a whole generation has gone by. And some of us who were at that original conference are so pleased that this new generation that we see around us here in Hawaii have picked up the ball or have grabbed onto the baton of cherishing our lands and our culture and our community and families, and looking at the impact, the continuation of impacts upon the Hawaiian people and in our environment, our home here in Hawaii. So we're so pleased that the generation that we see out there on the beaches, in front of the bulldozers, at the burial sites, are as active as ever and have in many cases, a better sense of our identity than we did back in the 80s. We were just rediscovering our history back in those days. But in the 1980s, and I won't say too much more, there was just a lot of activity in tourism, much more than we see today visually. We had hotel developments coming up on all of the islands in the coastal areas. And so our burials were being impacted. Our sacred sites were being impacted. So a lot of hotels and golf courses were coming up in the 1980s. And many of our young active Hawaiians were standing in front of the bulldozers and resisting and protesting. And so that was the atmosphere in which the conference came about. And I hope you get a chance to read the transcripts or the rectifying actions and the statements and conclusions that came out of that conference, which was documented, and very good conclusions and actions that were being recommended. So for the last 30 plus years, many of us have been trying to implement those rectifying actions. Some of those have had consequences on churches. And, one of the things we did immediately after that conference, we had a press conference to talk about the conclusions of the tourism conference on the steps of Kauai Ha'o Church. We did a press conference. Myself and Haunani K. Trask spoke to the media and the public about the need for us to be concerned. Everybody needs to be concerned about tourism and its impacts. And there was also on the steps of Kauai Ha'o Church an appeal for churches to get more involved with this issue of tourism because of the impact on our communities, our youth and our lands. And there was also a call for churches to get more involved, but also to apologize for the church's own role and complicity in the history of Hawaii. And that's one of the things that we took seriously after the tourism conference. And we had groups of people visit all of the churches and formally ask the churches to do things like review its history and issue apologies, but also to inventory church lands and to return lands as churches back to the Hawaiian people. So those are some of the things that came out of the conference from those who were participants. And so we want to review some of those things. Some of those things were addressed, but some of those things were not addressed. I think we had asked for a moratoriums on development, hotel development, moratoriums on golf courses, and that kind of took hold for a little bit. But I think those have been lifted over time. But some of those rectifying actions are good to look at today, so that, and to consider as actions that this new generation that's emerging may want to implement. But anyway, I've said enough, but we have with us today Dr. Ha'ahil Gwanson, who was also at the conference, also on the organizing committee. We have Dr. John Matsuoka, who during those days did studies on the impact of mega resorts, the impact and concerns of the development of Lanai, and the impact on places like Miliuli'i, the fishing and the environment and cultural resources. So we're really glad that John Matsuoka, who did a lot of work with the people like Luciano Minervi and Daviana McGregor and Emmett Aluli, just documenting the social and environmental cultural impacts, and did just excellent job in those studies that were done. And I'm sure they're available. John could speak to that. John Matsuoka is with us. He's going to be listening and asking questions. We want to learn. We want to know what's going on in the community, and we're going to try to document and create a process so that we can so we can work together and look at strategies to help in this work of understanding what's going on with tourism in Hawaii. We also have Frank Collison, who's from Haida Gwaii. I mentioned earlier, Frank was with us with his wife Sheila and Josh, and Frank shared with us, as well as other Native Americans from the Navajo Nation, and I think the Comanche Nation. We have Pacific Islanders, but Frank shared with us what was going on in Haida Gwaii up north. And so and Frank has continued to come almost every year to visit and to stay in touch with us. And so his visit this time, we thought we would take an opportunity to try to look at that tourism conference and the declaration and the and all of those things. So we're really glad that Frank's here with us. He's going to say a few words. And then of course we have Kumu Hewitt is with us today. And boy, yeah, we're so glad that you're with us today, Kumu. And Heilani Sonoda. Yeah, we're really glad that Heilani's involved in the Kalahui network. It's such a tremendous kokua with this process that we're beginning. And so we're hoping that today will lead to something more substantial as we try to address the impacts that are continuing. I'm going to let Ha'ahil say a few words, and then John Matsuoka, and then Frank, and then we'll have Kumu lead us into the comments and testimony, maybe with some Pule and Oli. But Ha'ahil, can you say a little bit?
Aloha, everyone. Thank you for being here with us. I just want to say a few words about some of the results of that tourism conference 33 years ago. One major thing is the apology by the church to the Hawaiian people, and also the U.S., which led to the U.S. apology to the Hawaiians. This was a remarkable thing back in the day. And the church, the United Churches of Christ, took years to really make an authentic apology, realizing what they had done. So they studied, went back to the archives, what actually happened as they began their apology. The service of apology began at Kauai Hau Church. And as you recall, back in 1993, at the 100th commemoration of the overthrow, there was a massive thousands and thousands of people gathered at Iolani Palace. So from Kauai Hau Church, we went to the bandstand at Iolani Palace, and the process of apology began. And then, which led to the US apologizing, so which is great. And so these are some of the effects of what's happening. But tourism, I'm sorry to say, is still pretty much the same. The only time when we had COVID and everything was shut down and tourists were not here, we got a glimpse of what or how things could be. The waters, everything became so much clearer, and the space was given, because tourism affects us in so many ways, not just what happens in Waikiki and the building of hotels, but basic things, as many of you know, how the water is so precious, and the use of our land, how the land is used. And then we get into the economic disparity, the difference between the working people and those who are getting wealthy from tourism, and how the tourist money goes out of here. Yes, and then we have sexism and the racism that is perpetuated. And then there's human and sex trafficking that goes on. So yes, we're asking the churches to get involved, and there is so much more to be done and in our community. So it was a wonderful, eye-opening experience 33 years ago. But the work continues and many of you are involved. So we need to move and push forward and to control how we see visitors coming to Hawaii, if at all. So thank you. So yes.
Let's go to John Masuoka, and then we'll go to Frank Collison, and then John, where are you, John? Okay, John, you want to?
Yeah, good morning. Aloha, everyone. I can't believe that we had that gathering 33 years ago, how time flies. And it's good to see old friends on the screen. You know, 1993, what was interesting, so I started at UH in 1985 and started doing research on the social and cultural impacts of tourism throughout the islands. And as Kaleo mentioned, worked very closely with Daviana McGregor and Luciano Minervi. Daviana was in ethnic studies, Luciano was in urban and regional planning, and I was in social work. So we formed this interdisciplinary team, which worked out really well because we brought to the table different perspectives and orientations on how to do research and things to look at. And you know, Daviana had excellent connections in communities throughout the islands. But back then, as we were doing the research, the Department of Business and Economic Development and Tourism and other people were saying that we were approaching 7 million tourists per year in Hawaii. And that was a critical threshold, if not breaking point, that when you hit 7 million, you know, all kinds of things would happen. There would be diminishing returns on economically, on the aina, on communities, culture, and so on. By 2019, we had surpassed 10 million. So prior to COVID, we had surpassed 10 million tourists. And what that says is a lot of things. For one, is nobody's really in control of this. It just happens. It's this kind of partnership between corporate Hawaii and the political system. And it's really settling on this kind of this monolithic economic system called tourism, and not really monitoring the impacts. And gradually throughout the course of time, it detracts from quality of life of people, especially Hawaiians. When I did a study on Lanai was kind of a critical piece of work that I engaged in back in the 90s. But what we did was we looked at the impact of tourism development on different sectors of the community. And what was really clear was Hawaiians on Lanai were faring the worst. in terms of socioeconomic status and mental health and other factors. So it's really no secret what this kind of economic system, how it impacts indigenous people, not just in Hawaii, but in other places. And it's good to see Richard Salvador, because you mentioned that I also did some work in different parts of the Pacific, including Palau, and got to meet his family over there. What I think what's really, I won't go on too long, but what's really important is we have to begin to shift our way of thinking about tourism and really open ourselves up to different economic options. So I was at UH for 25 years. I moved from UH to run the Consuelo Foundation for several years. And now I'm at Hawaii Betsuin, a Buddhist temple on the Pali. And not too long ago, we were talking to our investors, and the investment advisor was saying, hey, the economy is starting to recover. This is prior to Russia invading Ukraine, but he was kind of excited that the economy was starting to recover. And he said, one of the indicators of economic recovery globally is the consumption of oil. And he said the world is now approaching 100 million barrels of crude oil a day in consuming that amount as a good thing. And you know, I didn't know this guy, but I just had to say, why is that good that we're consuming 100 billion gallons a day globally? And what are the implications in terms of climate change? You know, when I drive to work in the morning, you know, I hear the disc jockey saying, another beautiful day in Hawaii, you know, sunshine and no rain. Well, you know, we're in the middle of a drought. So we really have to begin to shift our mentality and way of thinking about what's good for the environment, the aina, culture, and so on. Anyway, that's my spiel. Nice to see everyone.
Thank you. I just wanted to check the time because we do have people waiting. So, and then we'll have Kumukoe Kapu be kind of he can care about Ahu Alaka and what was.
Okay. We'll just have Frank say hello, okay? Frank, and then Kumu can take it from there. Okay? Here.
Well, greetings to everyone from Hawai'i Ecumenical. I just remember the conference very well, and I remember the good things that came out of it. And it's good to see the responsible people that are taking hold of it and making sure that things go right, and that the land and the ocean and the air is being taken care of, and those things that are so important to us as visitors. It's just wonderful to see the continued efforts to make it well.
Okay. Okay, okay. Helani, you want to pass?
Yeah, so I just want to introduce Kumukoe Kapu Okalani. And today he is of course a kumuhula and a hakumele who's won many awards and is considered a living treasure by our people, and is very involved in the Hawaiian community and has been involved in the Hawaiian movement for decades. So I wanted to start off with Kumukoe Kapu, and then I think our first speaker or our first testifier is Noelani Ahia after her. Kumu is going to share as well about, because he is from the windward side of Oʻahu, and there are some issues. Kumu's been very vocal about tourism and the impacts of tourism in our country. Hello, Kumu.
Mahalo ia o Helan, mahalo kako ke kako ko ho ve ana akamana o iki ia kuka e pili ana no ke ia mea nui no kako o ia hoi nakanaka ho kipa mai Hawaii nei. Mahalo to everyone for this opportunity to come and share about this big in Hawaii, and that is visitors as they come Hawaii, the poe malahini, and how do we continue as a people to keep up? It is part we keep up small scale, medium scale, large scale. We keep up. That's in our tradition. So how do we continue? So I'm going to try to keep my short as I can, yeah? Mahalo ke akua no ke ia manawa na ke akua no ka ho'olo, ka ho'o mai me ka ho'o malu. First, I was a board member of the Hawaii Tourism Authority for many years. This was many, many years ago. And my platform was always and remains to be the same. And I've spoken to them time and time and time again. Take care of the local people foremost. When you support the local community, our native people, and the people whose lives ingrained in this soil many, many, many years, you will get their support. But when you kiloi them on the side, like they opala, and they are not considered as we move in our understanding, do this in the future, that's not, and I continue to talk to them. I recently spoke to them on this particular issue. Take our people to support you. You know, there's an old saying, yeah, iko malama o ka aina, iko malama o ka aina ya oe. As you take care of the land is exactly how the land will take care of you. Iko malama ole o ka aina, iko ka aina malama ole ya oe. And when you don't take care of the land not going to take care of you. Aina ho oe ka aina ya oe, he aina oe naida. Land going to eat you. A meal for the land. You will become the meal for the land. The Kanaka Maoli, the Iwihanaina, the Noho Papa, no one understands many things. But part of the pilikia is we no more the control that have. See, really being colonized over and over and over again in so many different ways. If we don't and do not part of the challenges as we move, and we can, you know, blame ourselves to a degree, but the power, you know, and the control, they have it. We have to change that. We can no longer allow them to do that. And I heard somebody talk about land and natural resources. So I challenge any of you to go into the Department and Natural Resources and to go and how many department heads in the Department of Land and Natural Resources are at Kanaka Maoli, Iwihanawa, and Noho Papa? How many of these people that are in control here actually from here? And Department of Land and Natural Resources is a land natural resource of Hawaii. Where do these people come from? Well, like I said, I would love to, if somebody can research that and find out how many of them, because I met them, and all I'm going to say is they're not familiar to me. All right, moving on. Hualaka. Ahu'ala. One of the most sacred places in Hawaii, and our own Kanaka Maoli, our own Iwihanau o Ki'ia Aina, our own Noho Papa, have no idea of Ahu'alaka. Now, during COVID, people were out there having parties, throwing rubbish, all the opala here and there. Where was Department of Land and Natural Resources? Good question. You know who had to go out there? And I went out there with the help of Healani to ku'e all these people having wild parties, drinking, running around naked, sex parties. And then they all went accuse me of being a racist. And hundreds, if not thousands of people was calling me a racist because all is we need to stop the unpermitted parties and the unlicensed businesses that are a part of this destruction of Ahuala. Why is Ahualaka important? So one of these people that accused me of being racist told me when I asked the question, where are all people? Because Ahualaka is more sacred than Mauna Kea. And then they will attack me again. Ahualaka, Kapapa Ialaka are the parents of Mauna Kea. They are the kupuna of Mauna Kea. If Kapapa Ialaka was not born, Mauna Kea would not have been born. And this reflects our own imbalance as a people. When we don't know our mo'okuauhau and we don't know our mo'olelo. So our legend tells us that at Mokapu, at Pu'u Hawai'i Loa, Kane Huli Honua and Keaka Hulilani, firstborn son Kapapa Ialaka. Kapapa Ialaka is not only the island out there, Kapapa Ialaka, but where was it that was the Hualaka? Kapapa Ialaka is the kupunkane of Oʻahu, Lilinoe, Vakea, all of those people come from Kapapa Ialaka. So when my own people, our own people was attacking me that you are an ignorant kupuna, you don't know what you're talking about. Listen, we are the noho papa of He'eia. We're the inhabitants and we've never left He'eia. We gonna know the mo'olelo and the mo'okuauhau of He'eia. So with the help of Healani, this information got out and still trying to educate people. We all need to know and understand roles and responsibilities, kuleana, mo'okuauhau genealogy, and the history. Because when we forget the kupuna of Mauna Kea, then that might be a reflection how we forget the kupuna that are alive today and well here in Hawaii that get the ike to teach the makua so the makua can teach the opio, who can share the information with the keiki in the process of kupuana, ultimately the kupuna who is on that journey of kupuana, who was born, lived through and gathered the ike of keiki to become opio, that lived through and gathered the information of opio to become makua, lived through and gathered the information being maku to become na. And there's only one step after that, to become the au makua for the ohana, and ultimately the au of the akua. So when we honor our own, the mo'olelo, the hau and the kuleana, it's going to be difficult. We can move forward with the knowledge, the enlightenment, the wisdom of our kupuna to help us through this. And I speak about tourism because, again, when we in control, we can decide what our future going to be. In the meantime, what do we do as we make strides forward to gain back our rightful role and responsibility, kuleana, mo'okuauhau genealogy, mo'olelo, and history, because I'm tired of somebody else moving over here and telling me who I am. I'm tired of that. I'm tired. I still have to work. I'm going to be 70 years old and I work full time in the hotel because I can get work and I still feed children, my 50 children and my 5 great-grandchildren. And when they tell me who I am, I got to fight. I can't hear that. I like to tell you who I am. You don't come here and tell me who I am. Because at the end of the road, the taro farmer, the fisherman, and every Waiʻi family are following the kuleana of our kupuna, and we're struggling to take care of every member of that family. Finally, they're called Oʻahu, and we forward as Ohana. Separate the mo'opuna of Haloa have to move together, have to combine all the efforts. Alulike mai kako, everybody pull together and let's move forward. And just mahalo nui loa, mahalo healani, mahalo to all of you, Kahu Patterson, mahalo everybody for giving me the opportunity just to vahi ina mona noka no no ana, just some food for thought, yeah, about tourism. And then my struggles, what I did all my life and still doing, still trying to make changes for everyone in Hawaii.
Eo, kumu, mahalo nui. I miss and love you.
Aloha. Aloha.
Eo.
Oh, just a couple things. I just wanted to share, this Zoom meeting is being recorded, and it will be put in the record. I'm also going to be downloading everything in the chat as well. A couple rules. So we don't have that much time for this session, but we're going to have future sessions. And so we just ask everybody to keep it like about 3 minutes. And if you want to share in pictures or anything like that, I can just make it multiple. I can allow you to share. And then if you want to testify, just put your name, Ahupua'a and Island on the chat. Thank you so much. And this is the first of many. So if you don't get a, we'll stay on as long as we need to. Thank you. And first one is Noelani Ahia.
Aloha kakahia kakako. I'm Noelani Ahia, and I'm calling in from Maui today. I wanted to make sure that Maui was represented in this kuka kuka. Mahalo nui to everyone who spoke already, especially Kumu Frank. That was really moving. And, I can't imagine how tired you are at 70, because at 47, I'm exhausted. And, we have to do something before the next few generations keep repeating the same cycle. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about Maui and how we're really getting slammed by over tourism, especially in the it's not really post-COVID yet, but after the shutdown, when we were able to rest for a little bit, tourism came back like harder than ever. And our traffic is all jammed up. Our airports are all jammed up. Our hospitals are jammed up. I had to take a kupuna that I kokua to the hospital a couple months ago. And it was so crowded that the nurses were treating people in the waiting room. And I asked one of the nurses, hey, is this just COVID? And she said, no. She said, people don't understand. We don't have enough resources for all these people. And plenty of the people at the hospital are tourists. They're taking up resources from our kupuna, and my kupuna had to wait for like 5 hours to be seen because our hospitals are so full. It's getting increasingly more difficult to be Hawaiian in Hawaii without a tourist gaze. Everywhere we go, when we go up to Iao Valley, which is another very sacred place, a very sacred wahi in our aina, this how do I say? The way that we have to fight for space is not pono. We have to navigate through tourists to find a place where we can go pule without a tourist gaze, judging us or trying to participate with us or trying to extract what we're doing. Is very, very uncomfortable, and it makes people not want to go to these places because they're so overrun with tourists. One of the things that I wanted to acknowledge that you folks did was working towards getting the apology bill written and signed. That's amazing. I use that all the time as an education tool. But what I think we could possibly look at now is trying to actually get that apology bill to go to the next step, which is accountability, reconciliation, amends, something other than, yes, we did a bad thing, but actually try to look at what reconciliation could look like in restoring our kingdom sovereignty. I saw someone mention in the chat, cultural genocide. Yeah, this is absolutely cultural genocide. Our people are suffocating. Our people are suffocating at this extractive tourist industry. And I know you folks are feeling it wherever you are, but Maui in particular, there's so many folks who come here to visit and then they decide to stay. We have no housing. We have a very high percentage of our houseless folks who are Kanaka Maoli, and they're literally dying on the streets. People are literally dying because there's no place to go. And then they get criminalized for being houseless. So I'm really grateful that you folks are here to take testimony today and hopefully move an agenda forward that helps correct some of this hewa. Mahalo nui. Aloha.
Mahalo nui, Lani. Thank you for sharing. And thank you for sharing your tears as well. That's very meaningful. Our next person is Lani. Sorry. So we're gonna have to unmute yourself, Lani.
Oh, aloha everyone. My name is Lani Carrillo. I live out in Kapolei. I've actually been working with youth and young adults for the past 25 years. And I think one of the things that we're looking at right now is our young people in the justice system, and most of them are Hawaiians. We've been dealing with this for many decades. They become houseless when they become young adults. They have no place to go. So that same message. And when we look at workforce for our young people, a lot of them will say, I have to go into tourism. It's something. I have to work at a hotel. I can't survive in Hawaii. I have to help my family. So getting our young people educated so that they don't have to focus on tourism. And I want to say that are very educated. They're educating themselves on who they are. They've lost a lot. They've been very disconnected to their land, their people. Some of them don't even know their own genealogy. They know nothing. And so coming into programs that kind of focus on those things helps our young people. But again, I'm worried that these young people, 18, 20, 24 and under, really have no place to go or stay in Hawaii because, houses are being bought up by people coming from the continent, coming from, Asia, and then my young people get stuck with nothing. So I think that's all I wanted to share. So thank you for having this.
Thank you. Thank you, Lani. Next person up is Kahulani. Kahulinda, sorry. Can you unmute yourself, please? Thank you.
Aloha. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
How are you doing?
Hi.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you, Kahu. Linda.
Okay. I'm from Hau'ula side, and when I'm always driving from Kahalu to Hau'ula, I see tourism, throwing the rubbish out of the car. And so here, people beeping their horn and telling them, stopping, try to stop them from throwing rubbish out of the car. That's pilau, and what we get back is the finger. That's not pono. They just throwing rubbish out of the car, and we beeping the horn for stop them from doing that, but we only get the finger, And what teaches our youths and teaches our people that, these tourists come over here, they don't even, take care of the pala that's on the ground also, And I'm very upset of that, when I hear me traveling from Kahalu to Hau'ula, seeing that kind of stuff, or the tourists on the beach, especially the tour buses. I would have to talk to Heidi about that, in our neighborhood board, that the tour bus just stops at Kokololio and just stop there. And a lot of tourists comes off of the bus. But when they leave, we can't even use the bathroom. The local people can't even go in the bathroom because they they take up the bathroom space, and that's not, I tell the tourist guy, the driver, I say, how come you guys stopping over here? But I finally heard from Heidi, she said that they would stop that, and I'm so thankful, that they did, because they took up our parks and our beaches, just for our local people to go there and enjoy ourselves, especially when we get one big reunion and here the tour buses, you get 8 of them stopping by the beaches and getting off, and our family don't even use the bathroom. And we get the big area of Kokololeo and we paid for it, But when for us to use the bathroom, we can't even use the bathroom. So, I hope that, I didn't see any tour buses so far, So thank you, Heidi, to see for being part of, our local community. That's all I wanted to share. Thank you.
Mahalo Kahulinda. So the next person is Colleen iPhone Presley. And I'll ask to unmute. There you go. Add spotlight.
Oh, aloha. I wasn't prepared to speak, but I'm honored and really want to find out what's going on. Yeah, all the way across all of our islands, and in Ha'ena, I'm multiple, since time immemorial, my family has lived in Ha'ena, the Pali Coast, and even we can trace our lineage to Nihoa. I just in Ha'ena, we were able to, as you know, there is some hope as far as managing tourism, and what was a key to success in enabling Ha'ena to keep the number of tourists down was being a product of very early in the early 70s, being active with Kauolavi, starting with Kauolavi, and almost all of my life I've been involved with advocating for the advancement of our Hawaiian, our Kanaka Maoli. And anyway, in Ha'ena, we were able to get the numbers of tourists down. It was because of 3 things: a very strong, organized community. The second thing why we were successful in getting the numbers down and controlling what's going on in Ha'ena was strong community leaders. And then the third component, and being a product of the early 70s, it's hard for me to say, but actually collaborating with state government, we were able to. There are some good people that are trying to make a difference in the state government. So I just want to mahalo everybody, and I'm very interested in hearing what everybody else has to say. But there are solutions, is what I'm seeing. So aloha.
Mahalo. Presley Wan, Ha'ena, yeah, Kauai you're from.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Nice to hear from Kauai as well. Mahalo. Next one is Auntie Momi Green from Hawaii Island.
I watched fucking Buffy. Close the door.
Auntie Momi, can you unmute yourself?
Yeah, can hear now.
Okay, thank you, Auntie Momi.
I love you guys all. Thank you for doing this. Yeah, Lani. I love you. I miss you. It seems like forever from the days of the Mauna. And the power still goes on, guys. Every once in a while, I'll go up and I'll go visit my buddies over there on the access road. The last 2, 3 kiai that are left, and all I see is tourists counting those vans.
Oh no, he's here.
10 in a van, $300 a van, per person in the van. There's grands and grands and grands of money going up there every day, every single day. And it's the same thing. We are being molested. We need to stop this. This has gone on for over 200 years. We're done. We gotta huli this stuff. We're so hurt. We are so demolished and so smashed, bashed, and trashed as a people. Sometimes we can't even get along. Uncle saying they picking on him. OMG. How dare you pick on Kahu like that? Oh my gosh. We got to start over, guys. We got to restart. We got to go back to the beginning. Our foundation. Auntie Max, I look at you. Auntie Max was my grandmother's friend, Malia Pa'ia'una. Used to come over when I was a kid. Her and my grandmother. They laughed and had fun. Now it's just horrid. We need to bring the laughter, the aloha, our hearts. We need to bring it. I have 16 people on my farm. All ohana, 4 children. And I am in arrears in taxes with this fake state. I owe grants on our own land. We got to stop this now, everybody. We are hurting so deeply. And I'm 71. Time is flying. Auntie Max, I ain't going to say it, but oh, I love you all so much. And I just want to say thank you for all of you. All the spaces you hold, all those days, all those nights, all those hours. Everything that all of you do. I'm just another like Kamai girl, Auntie Max. We just country kids. Honolulu. My abu'a apuhe Miki stolen from my grandmother when she was 8. We have a place to go, and we can bring our other people. We have more land than we need. Give us back so we can house everybody, so we can eat again. We were supposed to go Mauka, go Makai, go get Mountain Apple, go beach, go get Opai, go. Oh my gosh. I'm trying. I love you all so much. Let me know of anything that any of us could do. I'm in Keahole for the last 30 years on Big Island. Mahalo.
Mahalo, Auntie Momi. Thank you so much. Auntie Momi was one of the kupuna who spent pretty much every night on the mauna for 8 months. I think she only went off the mauna for a week. Mahalo, Auntie Momi. Kimo Kale.
Yeah, I only stay listening. You know, I'm the Hawaiian kid, had to move to mainland for live, but when I go back about my ohana on Kauai, we used to live in Poipu. So I'm just really interested in seeing what's happening because my heart aches and I go back and see how Hawaiian people are still suffering and the tourism continues to oppress the people. But I know nothing for good for say, but I'm thankful for this forum for this happening and I can listen. So mahalo.
Mahalo, Kimo. Kimo, where are you from?
I'm originally from Kauai, Lahui. Now I'm in Davis, California. But you know, all the job, but all my ohana still stay Hawaiian homes in Alahola, Hawaiian homes out in Hanapepe side, but still get plenty of ohana there. And so it's, yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Kimo, for lending your voice. Mahalo. Next one is Richard Salvador. Are you able to testify? If not, we'll go to the next one. Next one is Nancy Mae Chandler.
Hi, aloha. Aloha. Hi, Nancy Mae Chandler, Louis Sausen, Kauai, Noho, Wainea, Haena, Kauai. Mahalo for having this, and mahalo everybody that testified and spoke. This is really, really, really heavy.
Yes.
You know?
yes, something that needs to be brought to attention. Yes, and then I heard Uncle Presley, he was talking about hyena. Yes, we have that under control with the
Well,
amount of people that used to be
Yeah.
there
10,000 a day on the
compared to
normal.
900.
You know,
We have
so
900 a
we have
day.
the numbers down. We still need to work harder on the tourism because we're still getting impact. If they can't get into KA, they're parking all over the place, going to our neighborhoods and
Parking outside
you
the
know,
driveway.
parking, blocking people's driveway. You tell them not to park on the dirt road. They tell you where's the signs, but they still park under the no parking signs along the highway.
They're gonna pay the $200
Yeah,
ticket.
you know, and
They will.
we have a few new cops, police officers that come and monitor the areas, but there's many that would rather ticket the local people than the tourism
And
because
this is Hyena Beach Park we're talking about.
because
That's getting impact
Yeah.
so hard, hard.
you know, after the
Every day.
flood, the state pushed through their master plans on KA and on Black Pot. You know, as a kupuna, I can't even take my grandchildren to the beach because there's no place like Hanalei, the river mouth, over by the pier. That's where we take our mo'opunas, and that's where they learn to swim.
Yes.
We can pull up, have our setup, we can load them back in and take them. But now with the new master plan, we can't even park there. We can't even go there. We're getting genocide from our areas. Now, Lumahai Beach is very dangerous. And it used to be a beach for only locals. But now, because the tourists, they can't go to KA, they're going to all these unlifeguarded beaches that we don't even swim at, and we got to rescue. I just saw on the news today that DLNR closed the gate at Queenstaff. The news should come and take a picture of this place and video this place because they have all the warning signs. The gate is closed, but there's no enforcement. The people just walk to the right, around the fence, past the lot gate, and go to Queenstaff. And they die. You know, I believe that if people going to take their children down there, they should be cited for child endangerment. I explained to people taking their babies. It's not a safe place. They yelling at me. Everybody yelling at me. They can do what they want. They're the parents. No, they telling me to stop taking video, trying to hurt me because I'm videoing them. I go, no, because if your child dies, I'm going to show them the video that you endangered your child. You know, the impact is so bad. But the one thing the government is not expressing is that we had a giant exodus out of Hawaii since COVID. Nobody can find workers. Why? Because they all left. They can't afford to live in Hawaii. Hawaiian people are leaving. The local haoles that came, been workers here, part of our community, they left because they can't afford to live here anymore. And so who's going to service this? You know, back in the 80s, that's what I told the government. You need to take care of the people. The people will take care of the tourists. You don't take care of the people, who's going to service them? Where are we going to live? But they come quick. SWAT team from Oʻahu come quick to arrest me. I stand up for Kupuna Iwi. Now wait, still they come and arrest me. And for tourism in Koloa, They're blasting our sacred lava tubes, that's burial caves, that holds our water. They're blasting with dynamite, and it's okay. You break that lens, just like Kaho'olawe, there will be no water on our islands. Bombing, Makua, bombing, Pohakuloa, all of these things, you know, and like Kumu, my Kumu, Tawaihiwe, like you said, when the Kupunas was arrested on Mauna Kea, the kids asked me, Auntie, where are we gonna go to shut down our island? I'm like, well, first thing, we ain't going to the airport. I just will march you across the street to the police station. There's no place in there that we can hold ground. So we're standing in Hanalei by the river. All of a sudden, this cool breeze just came from Mauka down the river. I mean, it was cool, chilling, nipping your spotty. And one of the boys said, Auntie, what about Poleahu? I go, Poleahu, where's that? Oh, up Wailua. I go, oh, okay, we'll go check them tomorrow. And then that's where we'll make our stand. You know, I was there for 2.5 months, standing there in solidarity with the Kupunas because I'm not a limelighter. I don't think I have to go to Mauna Kea to support the action. Me as Pule and intention. I was there for 2.5 months. The only reason why I left there was because my mo'opuna was going to Kamehameha school and I had to take him to Oʻahu. That was the only reason why I left there. But Poleahu, this is the oldest island. All that you guys just talking about, we've been going through this. I moved here in 81. Since 81, we've been going through this. We stopped the tour boats in Hanalei. Still, we get illegal tour boats. You know, the Visitors Bureau, the state, the county, they do not want to invoke any problems with the tourists. They're not gonna, they don't want to discriminate against tourists, but they're going to discriminate against us, our Hawaiians. They don't listen to us. You should drive our road, go to Ke'e and see how bad the road is. And nothing. We had millions of dollars after the flood. We could have cleaned our roadsides. It's shame when they pimp out our island, but they don't take care of our roadways. And they blame us, the local people.
No,
well, we get mad at them and we tell them that
Remember, they're like the kind that put more runways for airplanes, for more airplanes to come.
Every single thing, we got to go and fight. But, you know, listen to the people from the island. You know, yeah, maybe we don't have the engineer Pala Pala, but we have the Na'au that our kupunas is telling us how and to fix it. You know, Hanalei, if we have any emergency where we have to evacuate people, we only have one road. They could have, after the flood, they could have made the emergency exit. So now we get 4 lanes leaving Hanalei. You know, in the flood, we had all their tourists here. I begged from the first night, second night, third night for helicopters to come in and take these people out because now they're using our resources. Still till today, they're using our resources because shipping in products and stuff since COVID is all jam up. And they coming over in droves. They're shopping in our shopping centers. They're shopping at Costco. They're buying all our resources. And all the Opala, what? We got to deal with the Opala, you know? That's what tourism also does. The type of plastics that they have selling in the stores is worse than the plastic bag that they went banned. Everybody thinks, oh yeah, Hawaii, plastic bags. Stop all those plastic packaging and stuff. I cannot even get in the package. I buy the thing, I get so frustrated. I cut my hand because the thing's sharp when you break open those plastics. Those are the worst plastics. Why don't we have the tourism people be accountable for their, in the old days, they used to have shuttle buses, all the hotels and stuff.
Yeah, I remember.
Also, because TVRs is expanded outside the VDA, we have no communities here. I'm surrounded by tourists, rich tourists. So you know where my taxes are. And I have to deal with these people. Parking, they're on a different time schedule. When they first get in, they're up at 4 o'clock. And I got to go remind them, hey, it's Sunday morning. You guys got to be quiet. But yeah, thank you, everybody. There's so much more to just the tourism and how it affects in all different ways. And I want to say something. I was telling Auntie Nancy, I'm not claiming that I was the one, but Kumu Kawai Hewitt always taught us to always plant the seed. So when Bill Clinton was running for office, his wife came to Kauai with her friend and her daughter. And I worked upstairs in the Princeville Airport and in Amelia's. And I noticed that there was a lot of security, with the men in the black suits. So when her plane came in, I went out to meet her. I shook her hand and I held on to her hand, just like I held on to Lingo's hand at the Super Ferry meeting. I held on to her hand and I explained to her, so your husband is running to be president of the United States. What is he going to do for the Hawaiian people? Because we are being occupied by the America. And after he was elected president, then the apology bill came out. I'm not claiming fame to that, but plant the seeds, plant the seeds. That's what Kumu Kawai always says, gotta plant the seed. And so, I've been on the front line for a long time. I'm still on the front line. And mahalo for coming for that, the Red Hill shutdown with the vice president. Mahalo very much. We support everybody in every way. Every island has a mauna, their issue. Like how everybody went to Mauna Kea. Everybody got to come to the Aina that's calling for a kahea. Because that's the only way we're going to shut down these people. I think every island should have konohiki for each moku. So the konohiki can hear the problems, watch their little moku, get together with the other konohikis and have the kupuna council. That's what we're trying to get going on Kauai. I'm part of the kupuna council on that. I'm part of the kupuna council from Naue. Moko Mano Kawani Po, started by Hank Bergstrom. And, because for us as kupunas, we need to have the next generation step up, but we need to let them kind of do the thing, but we're still watching them and they still have to confer with us and talk with us and we figured stuff out, But yeah, we have a lot of problems over here. LMI, everybody, come to Kauai. Come look for me, Auntie Nancy. She was a lady that was jumping on the bridge when we shut down the bridges, but it's all good. Everybody's good. We have the right to protest also. Mahalo.
Thank you, Auntie Louise. Mahalo, and it was wonderful seeing you in Kauai a couple weeks ago. And thank you for all you do. And mahalo for testifying. Thank you. Aloha.
Hey, thank you for coming because when I went and parked my car, I found the red Lauhala. If we never come that day, I would not have known the plant was there. So mahalo. Oh, I loan us.
Auntie Maxine, Auntie Maxine, did you want to testify? You didn't sign up, but you were on here from the beginning, and I wanted to just know, Auntie, You okay? Okay, no need then.
Kalamai, I didn't sign up, so it's not fair. Yeah.
No. You want to testify? I just want to make sure we get our kupuna to testify.
Well, okay, mahalo. As you know, I was the one of the kupunas rested on Mauna Kea. And Auntie Nancy is correct. Every island has our mauna. Now the Waipio people are going through a lot. And it's not only tourists, it's surfers. And it's mostly made out of haole boys and stuff, but there's so much heava going on. And I just want to say something about why all this bad seed has occurred. It's because not only the government, but our unions are hurting our people. The unions who are running by our local brothers, our own Hawaiian people. It's devastating. I mean, everybody wants to know. I'm 84 years old. I've been an activist for over 40 years. I have seen a lot. And for those that was in PKO, I was also arrested in 77 on the 14th Laulima landing. We were there and we actually helped stop the bombing, which I thank Keakua. But tourists, they're worse than COVID. We're having that right here in Waimea. I live here 21 years and it's devastating. They're here because what? The state doesn't have money, they said. And bringing the tourists over accumulates the kala that they think. And you go back, Mufi Hanneman is one of the ones pushing. I mean, he's Samoan. Why? A Polynesian man is doing this to our local people here. But in spite of everything, thank you. I don't want to take any more of your time. E kalamai au and mahalo Helani for letting me vala'au a little bit kuka. E malama pono, everybody. Me ke aloha me kumehana. Mahalo.
Aloha,
Hello,
Auntie.
Auntie Maxine.
Aloha
Auntie
no.
Maxine, Hawaii Island, Waimea. Mahalo.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I live in
And our
Waimea.
next speaker is Sweet Tea. Thank you. Mahalo, Auntie.
Sweet tea.
Where's Sweet Tea? Then after Sweet Tea is Malulani. And then we're gonna go with Righteous Concepts and then Kiara Lorenzo.
All right. Now can everybody see?
Hi.
Hi. Okay, so mahalo, Helani, for inviting me. I'm very new to everything. I'm currently still learning what it is to be Hawaiian, and I want to thank my keiki because we're all learning together. But I live in Papakolea. My ohana is mainly from Waikane, but we're from all the islands actually. So this summer, there was we know Rocky had her pup at Kaimana, and so after that lady got bit, I went down to Kaimana just to kind of check out the scene. This is a picture of me. This is my tent. And these are all the tourists that decided to make house under my tent. This guy walked through my tent with his ohana, and I looked at him and I said, oh my gosh. I was like, why don't you just go ahead and walk through my tent? And he was like, well, where's your aloha spirit? Okay. So all these tourists coming here always throw that aloha spirit, and they always throw the, well, we're providing money for you guys. I was like, really? And I empty my pockets on it because I'm not getting anything. So, part of what I'm learning is, our kuleana is to the land and to the animals. And these are just a couple of things that I learned. Somebody unmuted. I hear cars. Malo. So, our honu over here. And this is right in front of one of the hotels, or maybe this is Michelle's. But yeah, just the pure disrespect from these tourists. This guy had to leash his dogs. There's baby Koalani right here next to Mama Rocky. It's like, it's a show for them, you know? Here they are again. This was before HMAR and everybody else got called out. Look how close these people are. And we all know that if humans get involved with the wild, it's bad for, you know, all the animals. Over here, we have Rocky and all these people. This picture right here. So one of the avid photographers who watched the monk seals, I guess she caught these ladies sitting here dumping their ashtray into the water. They total disregard. It's their playground, and it's sad. And then we also have somebody who's guaranteed not Kanaka Maoli. You can't see it. That's his soda that he just dumped all over the seal. You know, I love animals, and it's just not cool. This umbrella, one of the umbrellas that was rented from Kaimana Hotel, and it was super windy that day. It almost hit them. The picture's kind of off, but it was super close. I was there that day that it blew over there. Just more pictures of how close. With mom and pup, they're supposed, Noah says the recommendation is 150 feet. It's not a law, but the tourists don't know. So we don't say anything. We just say, you got to get back. And to be honest, this shouldn't be HMAR. This should be us. We should be the ones protecting our animals. Here's one of the guys that decides to come in for a swim. You can't really tell the distance, but we are about a little over 150 feet away. This lady, remember the one who got attacked? Yeah, she was warned, but she didn't get fined because she didn't know. But I guarantee if it was one of our Kanaka, we would totally be fined and possibly arrested. This one, look how close these people are. It's a show to them. This is after we took over the beach. We put a kahe out for people to come down, and it was beautiful because I think there was more wahine than there was kane down there. And while we were there, we were all educating all the tourists, the lifeguards, HMAR, the police, the DLNR about UNDRIP. I was blessed and honored to meet Auntie Nalani Mitten, who was part of this, putting together this declaration. And in Article 24, which gave us more confidence into standing up to the HPD, is that it says, where is it? Here, we Indigenous people have the right, to maintain health practice, including the conservation of their vital medicinal plants, animals, and minerals. So with just this article, it gave us more confidence to stand up to HPD and DLNR. But when we put that kahe out, HPD showed up, DLNR showed up. There was 20 vehicles at Kaimana, all not for the protection of Rocky and Koalani, for the kia'i that showed up. And HPD straight up said that. DLNR was kind of just hanging back out of the way. But why? Why when we show up to protect HPD, DLNR, they all show up, right? And I guess there was a conversation the night before with one of the officers, and he was behind us. He was backing us, but I guess these guys didn't get the memo. And the memo they got was some of the kia'i that is showing up have been arrested. I have been arrested at Kalailoa. I live Papokalea, but I'm looking out for the well-being of our whole entire Aina and our Kiki. That day we showed up, look how empty and beautiful the beach is, right? They're down here in the corner. So they had the whole beach for at least 4 hours before HPD started telling the tourists, oh, you can go back on the beach. They cannot stop you. But here's the thing. Here's the lifeguard tower. From here to this wall is a little over 175 feet. From the lifeguard tower to the beach wall is about 116 feet. And it gets less and less when you get to this wall and the hotels over here. So it was a daily argument about how far we should close. We wanted to close the beach, and we did for 4 hours, you know, but then we got in conversation with HMAR, and HMAR said that, oh, you know, we don't want to block the beach. We want the tourists to be able to swim and enjoy themselves. Hello, 150 feet recommendation. And so I told them, I went, you go back and you tell your bosses that us as Kanaka Maoli have the right to protect our animals, and we are not regulated by your jurisdiction. And they just looked at me and was like, what does that mean? I went, it means we're gonna bring our own signs and we're gonna rope off the entire beach, is what it means. Because we don't have this 150 feet. Ridiculous. I mean, seals don't know what 150 feet is. Only tourists. But this is my son. He was so inspired that he went, and he's 4 years old. He went and he painted Rocky and Koalani. And, you know, I passed this out to Noah, and I guess they put it on their bulletin board or something. But they're learning from me and from all of the things that we go and do together. And they're becoming, you know, our activists. They're becoming our future. But we can't do that with, was it HTA, the tourist people, the tourists? Come on. I feel strongly about protecting our aina and everything else. So, but tourists is a big problem. They just trashed the place. Koalani was, I couldn't find the shots, but Koalani was in the water. He was playing with broken glass bottles. He was playing with fishing lures. There was a hat in the water that I ran and swam to go get it and pull it out. So just the less tourists, the better. That's all. So kalamai if I said anything to offend anyone, but mahalo at the same time.
Mahalo, mahalo, sweetie. Thank you very much for that. So we're gonna move on to Malulani.
Aloha. And aloha no kaleponi mai. We're considered, California originally included all of Nevada and most of Utah before the United States won this territory. So when we say California, that I'm talking most of the Native Hawaiians on the continent. When the UN Declaration of Rights of Indigenous was adopted, its purpose was to establish the minimum standards for indigenous languages to thrive. And Hawaii was the first American state to declare Hawaiian language as co-official with English. And this is a trend that has been catching on with other states, including Alaska and South Dakota now in 2019 made all three dialects of Sioux official. What we're moving is toward the direction of bilingualism. So the Hawaii Tourism Authority has been a leader, but the bar is being raised. And we're now at the point where, because of what the UN Declaration of Rights of Indigenous says, if you look at Article 8, any action which has the aim or effect of integrity as distinct peoples. When we forced indigenous peoples to speak English, we're denying Native Hawaiians our integrity as a distinct people. And so we look forward to the Hawaii Tourism Authority to embrace the values of bilingualism so that Hawaiian language can be recognized as having equal dignity and respect. This is very important for the Hawaii Tourism Authority because this affects now the perception of the state to other foreigners who come to Hawaii. So I would hope that the Hawaii Tourism Authority, just like the schools of Hawaiian language who publish their websites bilingually, would likewise represent the value of bilingualism in Hawaii so that every resident that also uses your website, that uses your services, has the right to be served in the Hawaiian language.
Thank you, Malulani. You can put your hand down too, as well, Malulani. And thank you so much. And I forgot to thank Sweet Tea for testifying. She left the meeting, but that was a presentation on Waikiki as well. Righteous Concepts, if you can unmute yourself.
My name is Robert Oliveira Jr. Can you guys hear me? All right, good. So yeah, I just like to thank you for the opportunity to be able to testify or to speak or, give my mona'o here today. First of all, let me just do a formal introduction. So my kupuna is Tutulilia Wahine Maika'i Ka'apuiki and Thomas Kiali Inohomoku. However, my mana'o primarily stems from my three kupuna kane, who is Tutu Glenn Kila, kupuna Tom Lonchenko, and kupuna Alika Poi Silva. My ohana stems back to the Ma'apua Wainai, Kai Wainai Uka Wahipanas. I am currently a tenant here on Papa John E's estate here in Waikalani Valley, or Waipio Acres, currently known as today. I'm wanting to speak on the fact that with regards to tourism, there is, to a very huge extent, large extent, I feel, a topic that is near and dear to my heart, which is kuleana. And I've found it difficult to find responsibility with regards to this whole plight, whether it's, protecting ilikupuna or whether it's tourism, whatever the case might be. I've always primarily looked at what my responsibility was. And I've eventually come to the conclusion that I've always came at things from an identity based in legal quicksand, as Dr. Kanalu Young would put it. And that identity is basically a federal citizenship. Understanding that the United States federal economy is based on social contract theory, and that we have socially contracted by the SS5 for federal citizenship privileges and benefits. I've soon discovered that we, somewhat as Hawaiians, are doing it to ourselves, and that the entitlements we seek and the privileges we seek somehow are the same things that negate our birthrights, from which we are born with, up until contracts and commerce begins. And so, however, when it comes to the current situation, I do feel that our responsibility and our kuleana, primarily to ourselves, is to stand on our identity as Hawaiian nationals, and to understand how we got so far to where we're now in the master's house, under a guise of U.S. citizenship, now arguing with the master about the rules of their house. And if we look at it closely, you know, at the turn of the century or last century, our kupunas became stateless, right? The republic was established and benefits and privileges started being given out under the territory eventually. And so they had to come out from the darkness, and as stateless, you know, nationals had to, you know, go to work, so to say, for the economy. And so they were forced under those conditions. And, you know, we have the privilege here today and the benefit of hindsight to know these things and to know how their circumstances, right, which is so painful, which we feel and, you know, which is shared here today, which I really do appreciate, you know, being a part of, because, you know, I empathize with my people just as much as the next Kanaka or even Haole may. So, but, you know, understanding that kuleana and citizenship, like, you know, when we look at facing the circumstances today, like I said, we have the benefit of hindsight and, you know, the opportunity to be self-determining, you know, to execute our right of self-determination, to determine that we are Hawaiian nationals, to renounce the U.S. citizenship that our parents contracted before we were the age of majority, and had the right to contract, or that we unknowingly did contract once we became the right of majority, the age of majority, because we didn't know any better, right? And so, you know, it's somewhat of a spiritual thing as well, because I read the Bible a lot, and I wouldn't say I'm baptized Catholic, but I wouldn't say I'm religious. However, there's a few, you know, a few scriptures that I'd like to close with and kind of help to empower my people. And some of them you guys can kind of refer to your own, and that's primarily, you know, putting on God's armor, you know. And we have all of that armor. We have righteousness on our side. We have truth on our side, right? We can go forth in faith. And you know, to close it out, the scripture that I like to provide is Revelations 18:4-6, where it is stated that, you know, to come out of her, so that we do not take share in her sins, or be, you know, plagued by her diseases, because God has remembered her crimes, right? And with that being said, we all know the crimes. We all know the state of Hawaii owes its existence to an armed invasion, and therefore we could make a lot more progress if we focus our mana and our attention to the source of authority, which is Congress. And, you know, sometimes when, you know, people don't listen, you have to learn to walk away. So when a game like this is being played, and sometimes I don't like games that are played, I just leave the game. And so I think it's time for us to kind of leave this game here in the state of Hawaii and start, you know, focusing on the source of authority, which is Congress, and start asking for reparations and a restoration of Hawaiian self-governing. And first of all, prove that we can be self-determining by renouncing our U.S. citizenship. That is my mana'o, that is my opinion. Thank you for the opportunity to be able to share it. Mahalo.
Mahalo. Thank you so much for sharing. The next person is Rennie Mao. After Rennie Mao is Jasmine.
Aloha.
Rennie Mao.
I didn't know I was lined up to say something, but I will say some Kahureni Mao from Eva Community Church in Eva, as well as a moderator for Hawaii PAM, Pacific Islander and Asian American Ministries. Thank you for having this. Been dealing with the legacy of tourism for many, many years. One of the things I'm really hoping that can come about is that every airplane that comes to Hawaii with tourists, we have them captive audience for 4 to 5 hours. It would be really good to put together a good video introduction to Hawaii and some of the issues that's been raised here. I've seen some of the airline attempts to do something, but it's always couched in a really sweet way, and it doesn't really, I think, tell our story. So I'm really hoping that from listening today to everyone, that somehow we can put something together and almost require that the airlines share it. Because that's how most of the people get here. Mahalo, thank you.
Thank you, Rennie Mao. Appreciate that. And the next person is Jasmine. Is Jasmine still here? I don't see Jasmine, but if Jasmine, if you're here, can you unmute yourself? Okay. We can come back to Jasmine. The next person is Kiara Lorenzo.
Maybe the mic, Uncle. Can you folks hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. My name is Kiara Lorenzo Rodriguez. I come from Mokuokeawe, the Big Island. My ahupua is Hamakua. I was raised in the wetlands of Waipio Valley and up on the Pali in Honoka'a, where I graduated school. I just want to reiterate all that everyone has been saying today. My tutu was actually born in 1942 in Waipio Valley, in that river. And for me, it's really hard because my tutu raised us talking about how much water there was, and we see the depletion of all of our vai and how many of our waterfalls are gone. So that's one thing. We really need to, as Kanaka Maoli and vai being our wealth, we really need to focus on our vai and understand that the vai is a direct link to our fisheries and to our limu, and our limu is spiritually our medicines, our health. So again, getting back to these processes that our kupuna had left us, they left us this blueprint through the practices of konohiki. Konohiki means to rest, giving these certain areas rest, especially where we have high tourist people coming in and hiking in these areas, and now becoming very dangerous for, the Kanaka that go and holoholopua or holoholumanu to go and make their ahus. There's lots of different practices, that ohana, especially from my mokupuni, Hawai'i Island, that do, being that we're so close to Pele and having so many people coming into these sacred areas and desecrating, whether it's the la'au, her kino lau, whether it's our animals, our sacred aumakua, the nenekus. There's a lot of, this whole global view that I think we need to really address and take back, because is it worth it to lose all of our righteousness, all of our greatness, right? That we have this connection to for generations upon generations, for the kala, for the money. As a young woman, for me, especially during this COVID time, our family it's too rough. We had to leave. So now here I am trying to find myself as a Hawaiian in the 21st century on Mokuhonu, on Turtle Island, and to see everything going on back home is saddening. In just the beginning of this year on Hawai'i Island, we had 6 deaths due to traffic fatalities. And most of those, I think 4 of those were tourists there for the first time. And I think these are things that we really, really need to focus on, because our roadways, how our children get to school, our kupuna get to care, how our makua, they get to work to provide for their families. We're all using these systems and we need to be safe. And lately we have not been. Not only did we see that through COVID, the ways we interact with each other is very dangerous. We need to be, maka'ala to these things, and we need to look back into our history and see, what did our kupuna do? How did they manage to have millions of people living in societies and thriving without collapsing resources? Because the blueprint is there. We just need to find it. We need to key in on those things. And I believe our kupuna have already laid those paths. we just have to listen. We have to olohe, because sometimes we have this ability to talk about it, but we have to be about it, because we've seen 130 years of oppression. Pilau to us. If we keep going this way, where will we end up? And we hear a lot of Kanaka saying, we're going to end up in a glass case in the museums. And that's not the future I need for my Pumaopuna. I think it's time that we really address these issues and see what we can do to protect not only our cultural sites, but our iwi kupuna especially when they're falling out of places in front of hotels. How can we mend that? Because that is our greatest responsibility as Kanaka, is to our iwi kupuna, is to the people who make us Kanaka. Mahalo. That's my little spiel.
Hello, Kiara. Thank you so much for that testimony. Next is Kahu Umi.
Am I on? Can you hear me?
Yes. On, Kahu.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Okako, Umialilo, Aloikea, Kiliolokai Sexton. I'm an entertainer in Waikiki, 5 decades. A lot of entertainers have come and gone, and tourism that we've gone through many changes. A lot to kupuna and family that are out there. Entertainment in Waikiki has changed so much because a lack of it, basically. You used to be back in the days, you could go to hotel, bar, grill, any place that had a place for entertainment, and there was music all over the place. All these pick and choose little places. And the problem with it is it's overcrowded, and we're still and there's still no park. All these things that we have to do as musicians and entertainers. The big thing in Waikiki for me and us that dwell there is the owners of the hotels that pay us like we're less than slave wages. I mean, 40 years ago, we were putting $10,000 worth of instruments into a car, traveling across the island and playing for an hour and making money and making $100 back then.
Okay, I think we lost Umi.
I think I'm back.
Oh, okay. There, yeah, you're back.
Okay. Yeah, it's in and out. But the atrocity of it all is that these hotel owners and these hotel, bars and grills, they only choose certain amount of money that they put out. We've been working for, even less than when we came out from the epidemic, and all these things that's going on. There's less now than we were making back then. I still see that tourism is not healthy for us. It hasn't been. We supply the entertainment, we supply the workforce, we supply everything, and they supply nothing for us. It's still a problem with the unions.
Umi, you may want to just turn off your video and just speak. Might save some power there.
I would just say that, the ownerships of the hotels and the lands in Waikiki is still not fair to any of us. The hula halaus that go in there, and been doing it for years and years. Everything's changed. Eleanor has gotten more involved. Another thing I want to talk about is the boat harbor, the Waikiki boat harbor. They're trying to privatize it. It's going back again from the Kalakaua reign when it was built as a public that we could use it. It's now turning into trying to make it Disneyland again. So keep it working and work this out and get a coalition or some type of a workforce of Hawaiians take care of tourism because we're old enough. Am I out?
We can still hear you, Kahu Umi.
Okay. So basically the tourism of the harbors, the catamarans and the things that are going on. Okay, I'm coming in. Hold on.
Hello, Hiolani. Yeah, we're gonna put Umi on this other computer here right now, yeah. But Umi is raising a big issue that we do have Kanaka working in the industry. We need more Kanaka in high places. So years ago, the Hawaiian Hospitality Association was formed. In the 80s, there were no Hawaiian general managers. Today, we have Hawaiians who run hotels now. And so there's the issue of employment and adequate wages. Umi, you want to come here and use the computer?
Yeah.
Okay, here, stand right over there. You can stand and dance hula while you speak. Yeah? But here's Umi, everybody. Go ahead, right there.
So again, the problem we're having is that the hotel owners and the associations that are controlling not only the amount of monies that we make, but also the parking situations.
Slave wages.
It really is. I mean, we're making less than we made 4 years ago. 4 decades ago, we're getting about the same we're doing now.
And you're promoting the culture.
And we're promoting not only the culture, way of life. We're sharing weaving. We're sharing even our harbors, our boat harbors, all of our catamarans, all the people that come in. The other is trying to own everything where we have no say at all in Waikiki. It is still that little button that belongs to us. And I think we can do this without their help. We just need to figure it out too. What Kaho's been doing and Hale's been doing, and this is a big start. Dealing with the other tribes and things of the world, help us to understand how can we reinvent ourselves to control this in a way that they don't feel like we're just trying to take over and start a war.
Start a war.
Well, it's battle already. We battle for parking. We battle for tickets. Stop towing my truck, my car. Stop giving me tickets and things. In Waikiki, we can't even get parking for ourselves. So what do we have to do? Park to Ala Moana, get on the bus, or somebody pick us up. We go do the job, and we come back somewhere else to pick up our cars. I mean, it's been like that for a long time, and I don't see it changing unless we, the entertainers, the halaus, we control that entertainment side of it. But we need to get together, as Papa Frank said. We're still in charge of this. We need to make sure that we're engaged every day of our lives to make a difference. Because we don't do this every day. It's not going to go away.
You're feeling disrespected. Sure, it's more disrespectful today because of the tone.
Not only disrespect, because I dwell in Waikiki, because it's my home, because Kona is my home. And you see not only the boaters, the surfers, even the people that are visiting, they don't care. They come in droves and droves. They come in, get in the water, they come out. They leave the trash everywhere. There's no control over that. They look at us like we're just homeless, widows and orphans on the beach. Well, they think we're vagrants, and we're not vagrants. We are people of these lands. We are Kanaka. We are alive. We're all alive. We just need to wake up.
Sharing love too, right?
Well, aloha has always been with us. Sharing love every day should be part of it, even if the aggressor comes on to us, even if they come and attack us, we still need to continue to share all the things that our kupuna taught us. And it's not fair for us to continue to be put down. Look at us. We're all in we're in lines and lines and lines to get food and gas and help and hope and and all we're doing, and all the people that own our monies, and I'm not going to say who, but you know who they are. They're not contributing to anything for us. There is no relief fund for the Native Hawaiian entertainers and halaus and people that are working this every day. There's none. And if you go to work in a Waikiki restaurant or any place, we can't even afford to tip anybody. We can barely afford to even go out to eat, or any place else. And when we do, we feel bad because we can't even help those that are working.
There's no reciprocity.
No reciprocity, and we need a change though. So I believe that with what they're building right now, we just need to show up someplace somewhere and put this together and say, well, this is what we're going to do. We're not going to tell them anymore, this is what he wants us to do. We're going to say, we already have the plan. All we need to do is put the process in motion. And I'm tired. I'm tired, Frank. I know, Papa. I'm tired too, man. We're all sick and tired of being sick and tired. So you know what? Let's get busy living, because if we ain't dying, we better get busy living. And if we ain't doing something, then it's part of your problem too.
Now, what's your son at life champion?
Yeah, my son, woman, perfect example. Waianae, born and raised, and he came from nothing to show that even here from Waianae. He's the first Native Hawaiian to ever win the World Championship Fire Knife Dancing Championship in Lahui. And then from there, he went to America and went to Florida to become, 15 years at Disney World. And he brought him back, and now he's back in Waianae, born and raised, families, children, his wife, but no respect at all, because now as a Hawaiian, they think that they're better than us. And I'm not saying anything about the Polynesian community. I love them, but they're not fair in the things that they're doing, from judging, holding, open. They take everything and they say it's theirs, but it's still ours.
It's still a good line.
So, I pray for us to get together soon. Tomorrow, I do this every day because all I want to do is make sure that my children, my grandchildren, I have 17 grandchildren. They're out there waiting to, what am I doing, Papa? What am I going to do for you? What can we do to help them? I get up every day and try to make a difference. Get back to Waikiki and watch the boat harvest, because they're going to start taking the little boat harbor and try to make it into a complex.
Take back Waikiki.
Well, we never lost it. We just need to occupy it. We need to go back there and continue to share the aloha that we always had. There's hardly any lay makers anymore. God bless my put it in the Lopes family that always continue making lays. There's no lay makers down there. They're all in Chinatown or at the airport. It's sad. No more weavers. There's hardly any weavers. They're in jail or gone. So thank you for letting me share. I'm very compassionate about this, because I know there's a lot of entertainers out there that don't have gigs, don't have jobs. They can't get it because they ain't no gas. They can't get it because we have no transportation. Then when we get it, there's no parking. And when we finally get home, we're broke, we got no money, and we still got to eat. So I'll do anything that the community wants for us to help. I will be part of it. Let me know I can help. Let me know we can have fundraisers. The entertainers, call me up. Me, Frank, and a few others can make it all happen. But we need your support out there helping us too, because Maui is important. Radio is important. Wamanalo is important. Haulu is important. Waianae is important. All of them are important. As long as you understand that these things are not going to go away unless we stand up and do something. So please, I pray that we find an answer by showing up. Let's get to Waikiki. Let's have meetings in Waikiki. Stop having it somewhere else. We're talking about that's the deep part of our problem, is the tourism is mostly there. Maui, I pray for, because there's so many people and stuff. I don't know why they'll shut it down for a while. Waikiki was shut down. There was 7 of us walking Waikiki. There was nobody there. It was so nice until one day we walked right in the middle of the street, and the police came and said, "You need to get off the street." And I said, we could have got jaywalking. I've been on the beach when they said you're getting arrested for not being in the water. I've seen these things happen to me, and I don't want it to happen to anybody else. The boys at Kaiser Bulls, all the homeless down there arrested every day. Every day for what? Staying and occupying on the land that was already theirs and their ancestors. And by the way, Lāhui Harbor was dredged and brought in there. So all you can put is bones, and my bones and our bones are still in that ground. It does not belong to the state. It belongs to us. Aloha. From Umi, my family, the Sexton, the Kiki, Waianae, Wamanalo, Wainiha to Waipio.
Umi. Thank you, Umi.
Thank you, Papa.
Mahalo, Umi. And so we're just gonna we have time maybe for 2 more speakers, and then we need to finish. The next 2 speakers are Darius and then Uilani Chong. Darius Kila, if you are here, can you unmute yourself?
Hi, aloha here, Lani, and aloha, folks. I am just privileged to share space with you all as a young Kanaka. I live in Maili, but I am also running to represent District 44, which encompasses Maili, Nanakuli, Honokaihala, and Ko'olina. And there was a lot shared about the different challenges throughout the different mokus. And I look at the challenges that we face here in District 44, and even the challenges that I have to face in my own life, where My mom works in the tourist industry. She's a hotel worker at the front desk of Ala Moana and has been there for 25 years. And I think of the work that she's been able to accomplish in her position, where she steers the conversation of tourism, when the kind of folks that are coming into the hotels, where she's able to get that one-on-one connection that I'm sure other folks try to do or maybe not do so much. I think about the different entities that we work with as we continue to look for a healthier way as we steer the state. I think now more than ever, the conversation is ripe, and no longer, I think, do our words fall on deaf ears, but everyone is working in different capacities. And I'm sure there are folks that also don't respect the way the state government works or the way the capital operates, and that's fine. But hopefully in my roles and positions, if elected, I'm able to do work in that capacity to make sure we continue to stay pono and whatnot. And as it all goes well, I'm definitely already starting to draft what would be hopefully bills that would honestly not just benefit Native Hawaiians, but everyone as a whole. I always am an advocate that when you help Native Hawaiians, you're not just helping Native Hawaiians, we are helping Hawaii. The health of Hawaii is gauged by the way we treat our Native people. And I'm grateful knowing that we have some of the largest concentration of Native Hawaiians here on the leeward side of Oʻahu. And Healani has been a great resource and advocacy, and coming into Nanakuli to give testimony on many things and even the work that you do in the capital. So I'm just part of the younger folks who are working, continuing the work that has already been done. And I'm grateful for the folks who laid the work prior to allow younger folks like us to come in and continue the works. So it doesn't stop here. You know, we have a lot moving forward. And as I advocate and whatnot, there are 34 days until the election. And whether you vote or not, if it's on your heart, I ask that you vote and get to know the folks running that will represent you. Mahalo, Healani.
Mahalo, Darius, our young upcoming leader of Nanakuli and Maili. Mahalo. Okay. And then next is Uilani Chong.
Aloha nui kako, o wau o Uilani Chong. I reside in Waimea on Hawaii Island. I am one of the ohana, farming ohanas down in Waipio Valley. First and foremost, I got a first mahalo, Healani, and all of you Kanaka who are in attendance to this Zoom meeting. This is a collective effort. And when we come together to share our stories, you know, starting from myself, and then our ohanas, that's so important because that's gonna carry on onto the next generation. So mahalo for everyone coming and sharing their story. So, you know, Waipio, there's others who they're daily. Right now, you know, there's a kupuna checkpoint. And prior to this checkpoint, you know, there's these attendants, I'm gonna call them the guards at the top of the lookout. They see the volume of tourists coming in and the impacts of that. So I'm mentioning how these people see it on the daily, and because of that data that they've collected, along with the mayor's survey of the Waipio Valley Road, we can see for us, the farmers and residents of Waipio Valley, not only is it affecting, you know, tourism is affecting the safety of the road, but there's a lot of other, I'm gonna call it interactions that we have with tourists who don't understand how to drive down into Waipio Valley Road because it's so narrow, and you've got to really follow and obey the signs. So while those things are very obvious for us in Waipio Valley, you know, I have to step back because it stirs me, and so I try to stay in my my wise mind and not let the emotion kick in. And so first things that I have to really do for myself and for my husband when my husband was alive is we have to do a check-in. And so I did a check-in first with myself.
Yeah, pretty
and
much. It's still going.
Owai oi. And when you listen to that question, vai is water, vai is your source. And so for me, when I asked the question, who is my water source, that allowed
you showed up
with Akua. And when I check in and I do a self check-in first, then I able to speak and think clearly. And so instead of like right now, because there's some, you know, emotions and it's like passionate Kanakas, there, you know, it's reaction versus, so you either react or you respond. And so anyhow, the check-in first really helped me. And when I respond, I respond in a way that I can connect to another person, a tourist or even ohana, you know, at the Waipio lookout, because it's emotional and it's a lot of aloha, a lot of passion. I'm gonna say that is how I'm gonna describe it. So check in with myself, and then the next thing I needed to do to help myself when I do respond is I have to make sure that I was talking to my children. You know, like everyone I heard throughout this Zoom meeting is our children, my mo'opuna. I have 2 new mo'opuna. Sharing the information with my children are young adults. They're all in their 20s, one in their 30s. Sharing the information so they are aware and they're updated, and paying attention to how I'm framing it to them, because again, sometimes I react, but when I'm talking to my children, I'm building my family unit so they too can be part of these meetings. And so I gather my family, I talk to my children, and they have their mana'o, they have feelings about it too. But my message today is in response to how tourism is affecting us is, you know, ask the question, Ovai oi, man. Ovai can be, who are you? What is your water source? Do that self check-in, and then go back to your family and make sure we're taking care of that family unit and keeping them abreast of what's going on, and as far as information and how we can be proactive in our position as you know, we're Kanaka Maoli. This is our home. This is where we were born, is where we live. So my kids take care of our family, take care of our kids, and they too. Now I'm gonna share with you my kids coming with me to this meeting. There's a meeting tonight at 5:00 at Honaka'a. And it's the surfers. The surfers wanted their turn to speak to the mayor. So we're going as a Ohana unit, and I'm gonna share testimony for those people too. And what I and taking notes in preparation for that meeting, what I found is even the surfers, because I'm gonna tell you guys, there's local people in that group. It's sensitive, YPO. You know, and I shared that with the aunties, the kupunas, that's ohana to us. And I told them, you know, these surfers, they Lavaia, there's Kumuhula, Laulapa'au people. That's all our ohana too. They're in that group, and they're family. They're the people I go church with, you know. So we gotta, I told my kids, when we come to the Kua'ikea at the lookout, or we're going to this meeting, that we come with aloha. We come with aloha, always with aloha, because everyone there, just like this gathering, the fact that we're gathering, the beautiful parts of this is there's all these little momies, all these little pearls hidden in between all of this. And the fact that we can gather for Waipio anyway, because tourists, I'm going to tell you, is when I look at community, they're not even in the definition. Right now, I'm looking at Waipio community, our families, and the fact that even though it's kind of like, people making their own groups, at this meeting, we all going to come together, and the fact that we can come together and acknowledge that, and I learned this, Helani know this, and Auntie Max, we learned this in Ailike, we have more in common than we do have differences. So if we can start our sharing, the gathering, the halavai, whatever you like call them, with the things we have in common, that's a pretty good start. So for us at Waipio, I'm hoping we can start with the things we have in common is we all aloha, we all get that aloha for Waipio. We all passionate. We all have a connection. We all have ohana. I mean, we can go on and on with these beginning points, these starting points. But meetings like this, Helani, meetings like this, and just like Waipio, we bringing the community together, and we're going to hash it out. But try, start off with the ailike, the things that we have in common, that we agree on. We love Waipio. We care about the health and well-being of Waipio and our families. We want safe access. We like the road get fixed. And in those other parts of the conversation, like tourism, we're going to talk about that. We can address that. But first, our ohanas, just got to bring them together, though, and come with aloha. Because I'm going to tell you, like you guys all know, my kids watching me. My kids watching me. My mo'opuna watching me. I got to compose myself. And see how I talking like this facial I passionate too, but I really try to come with that first and foremost is come with aloha, do my check-in first. And then anything I'm going to speak going to be for kako, like what is the common denominator we get? Find those momies, find those pearls. And that's what we're going to start with. And then, of course, what we learn in Ailike with our kupuna group on Mauna Kea is try eat first and then drink water. Because with the Kanaka, when the body is like never eat and you get a little bit, fussy. So come with your water and your little ian poi, and then we go start the meeting. Anyway, you guys, mahalo Helani. Love everybody. And I came in late, but mahalo, you guys. Aloha.
Mahalo Uilani. And I want to mahalo all the testifiers today that gave up their time and their voice. We are going to make every effort to ensure that your voice wasn't wasted and will be heard here today. So this concludes our first listening session. We will have another one, and we will continue on this discussion on tourism in Hawaii and its impacts on the Kanaka Maoli people and the role of the churches and how they can help us moving forward. And I would ask that John and the other listeners stay on for a bit after everyone leaves. Thank you so much. Mahalo, and have a great rest of the day. And prayers for Waipio and Kauai and Maui and Oʻahu